What's up, Trekkies? Hi, so we are... This sounds, I'm gonna admit a little bit of like failure or stuff on my part. I'm not sure if the news sites for the consoles are just really behind on everything or what's going on here. But it's like, I'm on the news thing here, I click the STO news tag, it takes me to Xbox One, and I'm scrolling down here, and it's like November 25th, February 1st. How did you get, did they just forget to update? And then scheduled downtime, March 3rd, March 21st, March 30th. Like, they don't seem to be doing news very well. In fact, things that are in here, and they don't always do STO news. Sometimes they use STO Xbox. And even then, I'm not finding the same things. Like, here's welcome to season 12 Reckoning. Click the STO Xbox. Not showing up that it released anytime recently in the search results for tag STO-Xbox. It's really, and I'm not sure if it shows up better on the consoles, or whatnot. But it seems like no matter how hard I search on this, it doesn't seem to be going very effectively. Other than there's a cabin on Star Trek The Cruise 2, and over 150 things that applies to all the games. I've already talked about Season 12. I've put links in a comment on last week's video. Phoenix Prize Pack comes out. Cool. Signs Importance Week 1. I'm like, hopefully they'll be coming out. They'll do better things with this. Because it feels like console is just way behind on a lot of I understand that it came out secondarily, but it does seem like they're not giving it much thought up front. Other than that, I haven't seen anything since April 18th. April 19th XP weekend, guess what? That's already over with, because it's the 25th. The thing that was posted yesterday, yes, was the Win a Cabin on Star Trek. Even on PC, it says now, welcome to Season 13. We also have a keyring bundle. But that's the same keyring bundle as per always. Single ultimate tech upgrade. Applying this item to any upgradable piece of equipment will instantly set both its mark and quality to maximum, usually 14 and gold. But the big news for today, at least for PC, which is a lot of my viewers, is Season 13. The blog post here says, welcome to Season 13, is like blah blah blah. In order to ensure captains are always making good decisions when equipping gear and selecting skills, we've completed a space rebalance for Season 13. And they've given you a free respec. Yeah, there's a humorous little story called A Gathering of Engineers. And it's basically how the NPCs in the game came up with war game scenarios, I guess. And so it was kind of humorous considering which ones they were approving and which ones they were disapproving of. They're like, yay, 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 cool, we'll do this one. No, I don't want this one. Although I did have fun with this, it's probably not a good simulator. And they're like, okay, yeah, and then they moved it along. But the big deal is the patch notes. We have another featured episode, Mirrors and Smoke. Kumarke is is going to New Kentar to defend it from the Zenkathi. Since it's a featured episode, it's got its weekly rewards that will come out. The old episode has now been moved down into New Frontiers, and now this one is the featured episode, just letting you know on that one. Also, we now have our war games. We have 2. I thought we were adding in 3 for some reason, but I guess we're only adding in 2. But they're going to probably add in more and more and more as things come along, if these take off really well. So, Core Assault is 5v5 space. Not necessarily PvP, but you're definitely going against the other team. Gotta complete challenges through the station in the Adelphus system. So it's like you're going in, and you have to go around, like, it seems like you might be going through kind of the big city ship thing of the Voth. I haven't seen anything on this. I don't go to Tribble, so, and this server's still down for me, so I can't log in and check that. Binary Circuit seems to be roughly the same thing, but it's in a Borg cooperative cube and it's ground. Seems like it might be a bit easier when trying to turn corners and make it through an area because it's easier to move on ground than it is a ship, sometimes. Wargames Reputation, we went over that last week. You can get marks out of core assaults, binary circuit queues, and then soon to be released to Tribble queue. That might have been the third one I was thinking of. The Assess Stratagems will now get those out of advanced and elite versions of these queues. Talked about the rep last week. Space balance changes. We've talked about that for a while. There's a giant list at the bottom. There's a giant list. Because it goes general. Everybody gets a free respect token. Delta Quadrant missions, they've taken some out. They've squished the experience so you don't have to spend too much time over there. It's kind of how that... They took out, I think, most of the Kobali Adventure Zone missions so that you can just do space stuff because ground is hard. Something like that. I don't know. New UI has been implemented to the PvE system. Not quite sure what that is. Again, I haven't logged in yet. Updated the window which appears when opening a lockbox. Moved level restrictions for all armor purchased from the Lobi store, and added information to these descriptions explaining how they automatically change effectiveness as the player levels up. That's good, because if you are like, level 12 and you got, Daddy Moneybags who just gave you a bunch of keys and now you have like 8,000 Lobi and you want to buy some of that gear that you can't use until 50, that sucks, even though leveling's not hard. But the concept is still there. Or still can't send it over to an alt. Whatever. The concept is there, that it allows for it, even if most people probably won't use it or have much use of it. They just don't want to cut everyone out from doing it. The progress tab of the status UI now shows players their current amount of fleet credits and their lifetime fleet credits earned total. Oh. The reward cooldowns UI now show the bonus competitive mark timer. Oh, good. New login screen has been added. Oh. Okay, so we're not dealing with Zenkethi login screen. So I'm going to go over the general stuff in the systems. I'm not going over the powers. I will go over the very first part that applies to all captains, the captain powers. But when it comes down to bridge officer powers, you can click that link below and find your own stuff. That's a page, one web page of lists. Literally pretty much everything in space gets again. I'm not going through every space power. Sorry, I have a voice. I want to keep it. Secondary deflectors in the research lab are now sold with 4 modifiers and only gain the epic modifier when upgraded to epic, instead of being sold with 3 and only gaining 2 when upgraded to epic. The amount of hull regeneration from SIF generators has been increased. Shield emitter amplifier consoles, shield regeneration's been increased. The Lithium store has a new section for account starship trait unlocks, available to players 50 or higher. If the player owns a starship on the player's account that grants a trait on the list below, the characters on that player's account that are of the incorrect faction that fly the starship will be able to instead claim a box containing an unlock for the trait for free. So this is like ablative field projector, advanced firing solutions, battle ready, designated target, desperate repairs, emitter synergy, improved polarized hull, improved weaponized emitters, insult to injury, numerical superiority, radiant nanite cloud, retaliation, shield overload, and specialist knowledge. Those are the traits that apply to this. To be honest, I've never heard of any of those starship traits. Carrier pets. This affects a lot of people. All carrier pets are now immune to warp core breaches. All carrier pets now have layered defense 3, which is an immunity to 1 torpedo every 30 seconds. Carrier pets have an increased damage, hit points, power draining, shield healing, and shield draining. That's good. Carrier pets that previously had Scratch the Paint receive the following. And it's all the ones that do have it, they're taking away Scratch the Paint, and they're basically increasing, like, Cannon Scatter Volley 1 is now 2, or normal Zindi Primate Heavy Fighters now have Torpedo Spread 1. So, again, that list is down there below. Reputation systems. Now, Singularity Core projects are only going to show up for Romulans, because they're the only ones that can fly warbirds that require Singularity Cores. Kit modules are only going to show up if for your profession, so it kind of shrinks that list a little bit. In Reputation, turn-in commendation now only appears if the player has commendations to turn in. Nukara Reputation project to register or turn in old equipment now only appear if the player has that equipment. It's kind of a running theme. You have to have it and it'll show up for you. So that way, like for me, I don't have any of the old equipment, but I still have those 4 things on my Nukara, so those are going to go away now. Reputation projects in the upgrade tab are now consistently appear in the following order: claim tier number reputation, claim sponsorship, mark turn-in, elite mark turn-in, begin sponsorship procedure. Isometric injections, isomorphic injections, and whatnot. Now there's a higher denomination elite mark to dilithium. It used to be 3 to 1,000. That's still going to be there. Now you can save them up and not have to go through, 3 to 1,000. You do 30 to 10,000 or 60 to 20,000. So that's good. Remember, those are not affected by dilithium boosts. The Lucari reputation is now moved to the bottom of the list because we have a new rep. Added consoles and warp core from tier 6 Tal Shiar adapted ships to the reclaim store. Heavy weapons slot to qualifying tier 6-5 and tier 5U starships, so those escorts that wouldn't have got it normally. Sort of like the Dyson Science Destroyer came out with a secondary deflector, and it took them a while to get the actual secondary deflector on pretty much every other science vessel. But now the heavy weapon is now going to all applicable previous ships, but not like tier 4-3, just tier 5 and above. The experimental proton weapon can now be upgraded using either beam or cannon. Heavy escort railgun can now be upgraded using beam cannon or projectile. Powers. Major mechanics changes. Energy weapons now always drain power when firing instead of all but one. Weird. The equation used to determine how weapon power influences player damage has been changed. It now gives a player higher benefit at lower power levels. That's good. All damage reflections that used to deal feedback pulse type damage now return the damage type that caused the reflection. All damage reflections cannot critically hit and cannot be further buffed by damage increases. Now, someone is going to be angry at that. All hazard abilities no longer affect torpedoes or mines, so I can't drop a gravity well and suck in heavy torpedoes, is what they're talking about. Or eject warp plasma, and I can't chew up a torpedo as it's flying through it and just damage it. That's kind of what it's talking about. Hot restarts now remove or no longer attempt to cleanse uncleansable effects and have 60-second lockout on a per subsystem basis. All player damage immunities now have 15-second lockout on you, during which you cannot activate or otherwise be affected by any more damage immunities. That's a PvP. All player damage immunities are now buffs and can be removed by buff removing abilities. Subnuke. The cycle during which cannon weapons actively fire is now 5 seconds, up from 3. The damage cannon weapons do with each shot has been adjusted to account for the change made to their firing cycles. Okay. This goes with something for cannon rapid fire later. If you use cannon rapid fire, again, click the blog, go down below, and check. This is, like I said, everything in space pretty much got a tweak in some way. So the captain ability, since I only have to do with 12 here, all career-specific captain abilities, so this is like sensor, scan, science, or subnuke, photonic fleet. I'm dealing with space right now, so go down fighting, miracle worker, that stuff. So go down fighting now lasts 15 seconds. The cooldown has been decreased to 45 seconds. The damage buff now continuously adjusts to your current hit points while active. While active, you will be treated as being at 50% hull or less at all times, even if your hit points rise above this threshold. Fair enough. You must still be below 50% hull capacity to activate this unless a good day to die trade is slot. Okay. So, like, if you activate Go Down Fighting while you're at 45% hull and some person comes by and puts a hazard emitter on you or, you know, heals you in some way, or you accidentally heal yourself, you'll still be treated at having 50% hull. But you'll get apparently a damage bonus as you go further down in health. Also, but the value, the damage buff it gives has been decreased overall. Attack pattern alpha. The duration has been decreased to 20 seconds. See, a lot of these things haven't had, their cooldown isn't able to be reduced at all. Now have a minimum cooldown below which they cannot be reduced. So that's what part of this is. They're lowering the cooldown. Tactical fleet, the amount of the buff now gives is 10 or 20, 30, 40 based on rank. Now additionally boosts weapon specialization and amplification for the duration. Last Ditch Effort now gives plus 40 all damage resistance during Go Down Fighting instead of plus 20. Nadion Inversion, the reduction of weapon power drain from firing energy weapons has been significantly increased. You may not, in a way, drop weapon power at all. EPS Power Transfer can no longer stack on a target. The amount of buffs it gives is now 10, 17.5, and 25 based on rank. The power buffs it gives apply instantly. It also now increases a max power that does stack, but this doesn't mean that other things that previously increased max power stack. So like, if your Warp Core increases your Aux power to 130, this will increase it to higher, but just because you have something else that increases your Aux power doesn't mean they'll both stack. So EPS will stack, nothing else will. And the amount of transfer rate is now 100%, 175%, 250% based on rank. Rotate shield frequency now gives bonus resistance to incoming shield drains. I know that's going to be quite powerful. Heal values have been increased at each rank. The amount of shield resistance now scales much more aggressively with shield power. Resolved an issue where rotate shield frequency could be used while shields are offline. Miracle Worker, hull heal amount has been increased significantly. Again, I don't know the exact numbers, but it might be now like most of your health. Now gives secondary shields for 15 seconds when used because secondary shields are amazing. I know not a lot of people technically have them, but ever since I started using secondary shielding, because tier 6 Vesta, I'm addicted. And I'm so glad that Miracle Worker gives them. Engineering Fleet, damage resistance buff is now bonus resistance. It's just a wording change. Now additionally boosts hull capacity for the duration. The amount of buffs it gives is now 20, 40, or 20, 30, 40 based on rank. EPS manifold efficiency during the duration of this buff is now 30 seconds. Okay. Grace Under Fire resolved an issue where its lockout would go away when the player died. Is now only available for the first 2 minutes after activating Miracle Worker. Scattering Field no longer forces the player into combat for the duration. Oh my god, it's so great because it lasts like at least 30 seconds. It might even last 45. And like, there are times where I put up Scattering Field because I'm getting shot at like nobody's business. So I'm like, oh my god, but then I blow everything up and they're dead and they blow up. And I loot all my stuff. And I'm sitting here waiting for Scattering Field to end so that I can get out of combat. Or someone else used Scattering Field. Or like one of my NPCs that, you know, if I bring in, used a Scattering Field and I'm now forced into combat. And I'm like, stop! Starts cooldown instantly once clicked. Well, that's good. Now grants all damage resistance rating instead of only energy damage resistance rating. Now grants bonus all damage to allies in range in addition to existing functionality. Oh, I have a DPS booster. The amount of damage resistance rating buff has been increased. Oh. It was already pretty nuts to begin with. Anyways, Photonic Capacitor. The cooldown can no longer be cleansed. Aww. Photonic Fleet. The damage, health, and shields of all of allied ship summons has been significantly increased. They didn't die before! Unless it was a bored ship blowing up on them. Photonic Fleet 2 now has a better chance of summoning a battleship. Did it not summon battleships before? Or those battle cruisers? Whatever, we'll see how this goes. Subnuke. In addition to existing functionality, it also will decrease the affected target's outgoing damage for the debuff's duration. Can no longer be cast through Enhanced Battle Cloak. Sorry, Ramun. No longer make Science Team recharge slower. Aw. So that you can actually cleanse it off of you in a decent amount of time. Because I know I've seen NPCs do that. They'll NPCs, if they cast Science Team on themselves, then I'll like subnuke it, and then their Science Team will be like forever on cooldown. Science Fleet now additionally boosts Starship control and shield systems for the duration, and the buffs are now 20, 30, 40, based on rank. Bridge Officer abilities. Oh, we'll talk about the target subsystem, because that affects science vessels, and a lot of people different. No longer upgrades just one single attack. Now all of your weapons drain a little bit of power from the target with a chance to cause the subsystem to go offline for a short duration. So, cool, I guess? I don't know. Again, we've got Beam Overload, Fire at Will, Cannon Scatter Volley, Rapid Fire, Reverse Shield Polarity, Aceton Beam. It just Feedback Pulse, Hazard Emitters, Tychon's Rift, Photonic Officer, Rapid Decay. It just goes on, and I just... Then there's Specialization Passives. Known issues, end this off here. PvP has been temporarily disabled. Foundry functions will be temporarily unavailable. Usually is after a patch. The new Q, Twin Tribulations, will not be available at the launch of Escalation. We are making updates based on player feedback from its recent launch on Tribble. Okay. The Kobali Adventure Zone map incorrectly labels the level range of the zones. Okay, so they didn't update that file. Core Assault. In Room 2, if Simon Says is the puzzle type, players will see a message stating they have made the wrong choice after making the right choice. Enemies do not despawn if the queue is completed. Elite queues are currently unavailable. The whistle sound for when a queue match is ready plays twice. Oh. Oh. Now it's probably going to play. I don't know if it plays or if it's like it plays kind of one, like that next frame after each other, so you have like whatever. When a player opens the new PvE queue UI for the first time only, the categories will be out of order. Close the window and reopen to resolve this. At least they tell us they know what's already wrong. Alright, so hopefully I have explained about the console, that they just have really weird news orders. And I've gone over much of the patch notes that are general to the players. Again, not specific to Bridge Officers because it's so long. I will chat with you guys next week. If you have any questions about how to understand stuff in the patch notes, because if you read this and you're like, what's that mean? Like, I went in game and I still don't understand what this means. I can explain. I've been reading patch notes from WoW and Star Trek Online for 10 years. I know how to read patch notes. So I will chat with you guys next week. Bye.